Hello and welcome to... Stop it! Now I have to start again.
No, we're leaving that in.
No, we're leaving.
Stop the clapping. Oh my god. Okay, fine.
Producer episode.
I'm starting again. Shh. Okay. Hello and welcome to Racing Incident, a Formula One and sometimes other motorsport podcast in an American accent. I'm Anna, and I am joined today by not one, but two extremely special guests. Is it a Formula One driver? Is it a team principal? No, these people are even better and even cooler than any of those people. With me, I have the men behind the woman. And these are the producers of Racing Incident, which we now have two of, because we're fancy. We're super, super fancy now. We have with us Tim Rodriguez, who is our OG producer, who has been with us since the beginning, even though OG is
off grid in this instance, right?
Yeah, we've not been here that long, but nevertheless, he's been with us since the beginning. And so, Tim, hey. Hi.
It's good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you too. Yeah, listeners, this is actually the first time Tim and I are talking on a video chat situation and not in our Slack. So it's super exciting. And as you can see, he's a very good-looking man, and I'm sure you're all enjoying this very much. Now, we'll move on to another good-looking man who is our latest member of the Racing Incident team, as you know from having heard him on an episode not too long ago, and that is our other producer. I mean, I feel like this is such a big enterprise now, I must say. And the one dancing is who I'm talking about if you're watching on YouTube, and that is Mr. Flip Medley. Hello again.
Wow. I'm here. Okay. I'm doing good.
Fantastic. Okay, just very quickly, a few bits of housekeeping, and then we're going to talk to these two fine gentlemen about, everything, life, mysteries of the universe, whatever. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which I just mentioned. Even if you don't watch stuff on YouTube, just subscribe anyway, because then that's another number we've got there as a subscriber, and that helps us out.
Please
we've got
our numbers go up. Exactly.
Yeah, just you don't have to ever open at YouTube ever again. Just open it the one time to subscribe to us, and you're all set. And of course, hopefully, you're subscribed to us on whatever podcast platform you listen to. If you're listening to us on just audio, which is fine too. Follow us on the socials. We are on Twitter and Instagram, and they are both at racing_incident. And, also something you guys could do is to tell people about us. If you have friends or family or anyone who is into motorsport, Formula One, whatever, who is interested in hearing from people who are, hearing from women, people of color, hearing from different kinds of voices about motorsport, which we often don't hear about, Americans, which even though now there's a shit ton of Americans in the space, I'm sorry to say, but nevertheless, we're of course the best ones, so you should listen to us. And
are we late to the game in terms of being Americans talking about Formula One, or new to the game?
I think we're somewhere in the middle. I mean, I feel like every other day a new podcast shows up.
Okay, so we're increasingly OG is what you're saying.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Every day we become more OG Americans talking about F1.
You are correct, Tim. You are correct. So we're like halfway OG. I mean, I think there weren't that many because I, of course, before we started, I did the market research, and there were several, but not like a ton. And now
there
there's
were
just
maybe ones of other podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
tens,
tell people about us if you enjoy what we're doing. Word of mouth helps a lot. You could always mention us on social media, and then or just to people in your real life if you actually communicate with people in real life, which I don't do a lot of, I must say. Otherwise, I'd recommend us to someone, but I'm sure you all have much busier social lives than I do, and therefore, you can get the word out on the street about us. Okay, enough of that. So we are going to talk, like I said, to these two fine gentlemen a little bit, just about, things. So, Tim, I wanted to start with you since you're the OG producer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you started, when you came on board, again, I mean, I should mention, of course, Tim and Flip are wonderful, sweet guys who are helping us out here for absolutely no money and no, but just accolades, lots of accolades. Which is
so
why
many accolades.
many accolades, and
what are
so
these checks that I've been getting? Then I'm surprised.
yeah,
That's from the day job.
must be those George
Day
Soros
job.
ones that they're always talking about.
I mean,
People
I guess
getting
so.
who, yeah, that must be it. So I should just try.
Elon Musk is turning off and on like Twitter blue check marks. That's what those checks are.
There you go.
Like
there you
there's,
go.
like, they appear every other day, entirely randomly, and then disappear again.
That must be it. I mean,
That's obviously it.
you've tapped into a fantastic passive income stream there, and now you should do some kind of seminar that you should charge people for. It's
By
gonna be
income
great.
stream, we mean like a little blue mark that flips on and off. Like it's like an internet light switch.
Right.
It's no longer cool to have the blue check now. I've noticed that like there are celebrities who are like,
No,
I don't
it's
want
uncool
it. I don't,
now.
It's not what I symbolize. I'm not down with that. Meanwhile,
Oh yeah.
Quick point. Did you see Lewis talking about having Elon hang out with him for a party and how he wants to like, yeah, he parties with Elon in Austin, Texas.
Okay, but like, what do you mean parties? Like, this must have
he-
happened like one time, right?
I don't know if it happened only one time. I believe there's a clip on Formula1.com and it links to a tweet where he's
Okay,
talking
we'll put it in the show notes for you guys. I will
Yeah.
I will look
Oh, man,
into this.
Is this
And now,
the end of Lewis Hamilton?
oh my god,
nothing- Lewis can survive anything. Lewis got Formula One to actually take a knee during national anthem, so he could like pretty much
mean,
like take a dump in the middle of
that
the
was
street in front of my
completely
house.
pointless, and
and
not everyone even did it. So
This is-
Oh, I don't know. I feel like
I feel like that
personally-
was a problem analogy there.
yeah,
I'm just
Same.
gonna say that right there.
same.
the one about taking the dump in the street, or the one that the
That one. Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one was terrible.
it was great. I was just saying he could let it slide because, quite frankly, as long as he doesn't do it on my house or on my property, we're cool. But in the street, that's totally fine. But anyway,
definitely
back.
doing
back we go.
Okay. That being said, I mean, wow. I will put that in the show notes for you guys. And I'm extremely disturbed. I'm extremely disturbed by this information, I must say, and I'm gonna have to really take some time to process this, but I can't do it right now.
I feel like
So
my
it'll
role
have
in
to
this
wait.
I feel like my role here right now is about finding the most clickbaity ways to say whatever we're talking about.
Okay. Good. I like it.
Okay, so
I think that's my job during this episode.
Okay.
let
okay.
me rewind for a quick sec though. I do want to say I thought the taking the knee thing actually was kind of like nice for me as a black person to actually see like they actually did it in the whitest of all sports on the planet other than hockey, because like
Which is the most Canadian of all sports.
well, yeah, but it's also the most like Eastern European of all sports.
Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
it's basically cold weather places where people who have a bit of melanin are not, or melanin. I forget how to pronounce the word. Anyway, it was kind of cool
let that
because
slide. It sounded great. I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm learning something.
yeah. Well,
Melanin.
anyway,
I've been
here's the
saying it
thing.
wrong.
Here's the thing about
Racing
taking the
Incident
knee.
is an educational podcast. You all
Yes.
need to understand.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I thought it actually was pretty cool because, again, the sport, he is the only black person who's highly visible in the sport other than, was it Callum Nicholas over at Red Bull, who's like the one person
Oh,
on their
let's
pit
not
crew
talk
who's
about
highly
that
visible.
man.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, when people say they know a black person in Formula One, there's like two that are highly visible that we see in a lot of different contexts. So here, somehow,
Lewis Hamilton and his little brother.
right, but and his little brother is like in what GT or whatever. I forget what race series he's in.
BTCC, British
There you
Touring
go.
Car Championship. Yeah.
Right, because he just went to the event and saw him
Yeah.
get sixth place, I think it was. So I'm watching this and I'm like, whoa, because think about what we saw with the NFL. Colin Kaepernick took a knee and like half the country like pooped themselves in the middle of the street. Yeah, I'm gonna use that analogy like 50 times today.
I mean, the NFL is a low bar for me.
Right.
So-
but it's also like the most like the NFL has to walk this really fine line of like realizing that half their fans think one way and half their fans think another way. And I'm like, in Formula One, you've got people from like Estonia going like, what is this about? Okay. So I thought like,
that's true. I hadn't thought of it that way.
yeah. So, I mean, the fact that like there was actually even conversations and he went around to the drivers and got them to actually like participate in taking a knee. I was like, hey. Yeah, well, the big one for me was Vettel. When Vettel and Hamilton apparently became closer, it was around the time all that went down. So their bromance kind of kicked in with that, and I feel like
I think it was before that, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, Lewis and Seb both talked about how it was when they had their run-in in Baku and whenever that was.
The Think of the Children incident.
Yeah, then they like had a talk or whatever, and that was like the beginning of their kind of closeness that then grew from there. So I thought that was really sweet, actually, because typically when people get into some kind of an incident with someone, it doesn't exactly lead to a lasting friendship.
Ocon, it's still on. Right?
Oh God, yeah.
Actually, Perez, Ocon.
Ocon and everybody apparently. I mean, I never thought about it, but then when people
Leclerc, a wall in France.
Yeah.
And just like that, we got haters hating on our podcast right there.
Oh, that was
I mean, it's fine. If there's haters, that means there's people listening to it. So like, I'm okay with it, to be honest. I'm like a sponge for that kind of stuff. I'm like, if there are haters, if there are people who are mad at what we're doing or what I'm doing, I'm like, go, like, you know, that I don't know if it's from what movie is it from. There's a gif of, like, I've used this before, of like there's like a 1,000 arrows flying at like this.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, it's Hero.
From 300.
Well, there is a scene like
Or
that in 300, but this is like some other one. But anyway, yeah, you can think of it as 300. I'm just like this. I'm like that. I'm like, go ahead.
It's
go ahead.
Hero, right?
There maybe
the Wuxia movie.
Maybe, yeah. Anyhow, okay, Tim. I really want to ask you because when you started out, editing our podcast, you weren't into motorsport, right, at all.
I did not consume any particular motorsport content.
Yeah. And then is it fair to say you're like a burgeoning motorsport fan, perhaps?
I mean,
now?
I think I was burgeoning kind of like the first couple of months where I like mainlined most of the first season of Drive to Survive, and then none of that was immediately relevant to the season that I also started watching. And I'm like, wait a minute, Danny Rick is in the wrong place. And like watching Drive to Survive and then also Formula One of like that particular moment, it was just so jarring that I had to quit watching Drive to Survive. Even for all that I love the reality TV extra special production around it.
Oh, yeah.
And I love me some trashy reality TV.
Wow, I'm learning a lot about you here.
Oh, yeah.
I, too, enjoy trash reality TV.
I, like, the trashier the better. Like,
okay, let's take a moment. Let's get comfortable here.
One of my favorites is called Extreme Dating. And it's a show that almost nobody's heard of unless you've watched some like
Wait, that's not the one where people are like naked, is it?
No.
No, that's Naked and Afraid.
Oh, right. No, that's a different one.
There's a different one. That's the survival show. It's not a dating show.
There you go.
It probably Is there really a difference?
Although Naked and Afraid is definitely the way that people probably feel in a lot of relationships.
That's an apt description of most of my dates when I was
There you
single.
go. There you go.
You went on some very different dates than I did. Wow.
Gotta live a little, man.
So the shtick
I've
of
lost
extreme
control of
dating,
my own show.
The shtick of extreme dating is that two people would go on a date, and the ex of one of the people would have a microphone into somebody else's ear, so they'd be like, "Oh, this is his move at this moment," and he'd be like, "I'm dropping this line," and they're like, "Oh no, you're exactly the same as like when like it's just like red flag o'clock the whole time." And sometimes the dates survive it. It's sort of like both like simultaneously red flag o'clock and wholesome AF. It's I mean,
okay, but this brings up a question that I'm gonna bring it back to F1. Who would you most like to go on a date with? on the out of all the drivers on the F1 grid? I mean, pretend I guess you're into guys, or pretend you're a girl. I don't know.
Oh no, like okay. So when I got started watching, I really got into Grosjean. I'm like, oh,
interesting.
Underdog. I love you. And that lasted for about 5 minutes before he left. I'm like, ah. And so, yeah, I don't know. God. Yuki's really cute, though.
Adorable.
Yuki is super adorable.
Such a cutie. And you're going to get a great meal.
I mean...
That's a tricky one, though. Like, I guess it's also... Like, if you're factoring cuisines into it, then you have to ask yourself, like... I mean, you're talking Grosjean, that's French. You got Yuki, Japanese. I mean, Zhou, you got Chinese food. I mean, you can break it down by culture.
Yuki actually cooks. How many of those other dudes cook?
Probably almost none. Yeah.
I mean,
but
Leclerc
on a
plays
date,
the piano, right?
Okay,
we know that.
Yeah.
And Hamilton is also into music and making music, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's some very obvious like well-roundedness of them, but like way to my heart is through food. Like the music is a real close second though. But
so you're going with Yuki.
I'm going with Yuki.
Okay.
Like, Leclerc is not my jam. Yeah. I think it's Yuki.
Okay. Flip.
If we're like between cute and like well-rounded.
Yeah. Okay. Flip. Who are you gonna go on a date with?
Okay. First of all, it's not gonna be the guy on the shirt. I'm not Taylor Swift.
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
Taylor Swift shirt.
Oh my god.
Oh, we just became the most timely podcast ever.
That's correct.
Taylonzo.
No, never happened.
I know, but we can always laugh.
We can talk about it.
It's up in the air for now, as far as I'm concerned.
Schrodinger's Taylonzo.
Okay.
Exactly.
Dating. So I have to think back to like what my parties are when I'm single and I'm dating. So if you're looking for someone for a good time, see, I think first of all, let's eliminate Lewis Hamilton. He's the type of guy like has you jumping out of airplanes.
Yeah, I agree.
Like he's just like too much. It's like just too much is happening there.
Well, I don't think he'd necessarily do that on like a first date or whatever, but it would still be like.
But
it would be overwhelming. Like I can't. Yeah.
Right. Also, I get the feeling that I just remember when Quickstop did the whole thing about like where his piercings could be, and I was like,
but he said that wasn't
so hard.
He said that wasn't a thing. Remember?
Oh yeah, he said that later. But come on,
he wrote that so hard.
Well, I mean, he was just having a little fun. Material. It's okay.
Okay, so I think Hamilton, he's too much of a, like he wants to go clubbing every night. I'm too old for that crap. So first of all,
he doesn't even like driving fast.
That's what he says, and then he goes and like hijacks a GTR somewhere in Malaysia and like drives.
No,
it like
you're talking about. Are you thinking about Japan? Are you thinking about when they were?
Was that Japan? Okay,
but that was amazing. And then do you remember that the rental car company like posted a tweet saying like you can't do that in our cars?
Yeah. which I thought was hilarious because I'm like, you're renting out GTRs, you know what's going to happen.
I rented a Pontiac Solera at one point, and it was amazing. I drove like 80 miles from like Berkeley down to the San Jose airport at like 4 a.m. It was fantastic.
I have made that exact same drive. But in a different rental car.
Yeah.
That's
offered
scary.
Me an upgrade, and I'm like,
okay, quit beating around the bush. Who are you taking on a date?
This is very hard
who's taking you on a date? We should probably say since let's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm the poor one in this.
Well,
context.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Gosh. Okay. I miss having hair, so we're talking like Lance Stroll, Leclerc. I think I've told you that I believe Lewis, Vettel, and Pierre Gasly all have. Enhanced their.
I don't know. I don't know about Pierre. I mean, I don't think he's.
I'm pretty sure that if you go back 4 or 5 years, you can find some post-race footage when it's wet and there's like there's some soldiers missing in action on that forehead.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, so I'm gotta come on home. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I guess I'll just throw this out there. I'll just say George Russell. Because
I did not expect this.
Well, let me tell you why. Because odds are good, I would be the fun one. And as Grace would tell you, I have to be the center of attention in the relationship. Otherwise... And George is boring as hell. I mean...
yeah.
He'd be like, it's a really fun date, don't you think? I'd be like,
think
yes, it
George
was
has a whole lot of fun. Just like underneath the surface.
I don't know. Did you? There's like
you're saying he's a freak in the sheets?
No, I don't think so, guys. I don't think so.
I don't know about freak in the sheets. Like, he's still British.
Exactly. And what's
like,
more is that, like, do you remember? Do you remember
like
even in
some
that clip where he's
impishness.
like partying or whatever? Like, he's got like a drink and he's wearing his like button-down shirt. It's actually opened a little at the top, you know, which is like, yeah, that's as far as George is willing to go. And he's like, you know, got a drink and he's like kind of dancing. Like, even there, he looks like that guy that you're like, what are you doing here? You know, that's it. It's just a no. But I understand what you're saying. For someone who wants to be the center of attention, that's definitely going to work out for you, I think.
Yeah,
because...
I mean, George would be fun enough, but not too much fun. That's why, like, there's that classic picture of him partying with Alonso, and he's, I mean, I think it might be the same picture you're talking about.
It might be, yeah.
And it's like, you look at him, you're like, yeah, but the guy who's really having fun, who's the center of attention, is really Alonso.
Well,
George is just there, like, probably getting tips on, like, so Hamilton's your teammate. What do you do? What do you do?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna say that this, I feel bad saying this. I feel really bad because really, of course, I'd like to, you know, of course, in a perfect world, I would say Lewis, but you know, as we've said, I would feel like it would be probably like a lot, and I would be like too intimidated, and you know, it would just be too freaky, I think. And while I really want to say Yuki, I feel like that would be sort of wrong based on our age difference.
Wait. I mean, if we're
Also,
living
I
this
called
fantasy...
dibs.
Yeah, okay.
You let me go first. Sorry.
I know.
This is going to be an awkward threesome here.
Okay. But speaking of threesomes, what I was gonna say is that I might just have
Please
to
don't
say
Team Aston Martin. That's all
I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna go with Pierre, who recently has revealed that his nickname is Tripod.
And I love how in the video someone else says, "You're the only person who calls yourself that."
Yeah, I know. That's probably the truth. That's probably actually true. But you gotta love the confidence, you know.
Oh yeah.
You gotta love the complete. Just, you know, I don't think we would have many good conversations, but
gotta explore the space.
I think everything else would be really fun. So yeah. I'll just go with that, even though that normally that would be like the furthest from. I mean, I really also kind of want to say Yuki, but I'll. I mean, there's not a lot of great options when you really get right down to it.
I thought you were going to say there's not a lot of Yuki to share, which was also going to be really funny.
Yeah, well, no, there's not a lot of. I mean, Yuki's a singular individual, and it's unfortunate there's only one of him.
I feel like we just became a Yuki Tsunoda fan podcast.
I mean, I think we did.
Well, we are. I mean,
like we restarted with like me and the Yuki gear, like going bonkers with that. So.
That is. I'm absolutely comfortable with that, and I would. We must protect him at all costs. He is just a little sweetheart. I just love him.
So question.
Everyone loves him. Who doesn't love Yuki? Like, I think if someone doesn't love Yuki, I'm like very suspicious about them.
Franz Toast, the first year he was at Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri or whatever
screw
it was
him,
called.
You know.
Well, I mean, he was like, he doesn't want to work. And he had a good point, right? Like, Yuki came in kind of just like a little sloppy.
Even Yuki would admit that, you know. But he's turned it all around. So.
I know, YukiTube is like, he's getting the new narrative now.
Yeah, that's what his YouTube channel is called. It's so adorable. Oh my god.
Even better.
I think he only has the one video, but everyone needs to watch it. It is so cute. Like it's his preseason training.
Right,
and yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a reaction video if we're not careful.
Yeah. Okay. So, but Tim, but like, are you actually like, have you watched, so you've watched like some races all the way through?
I mean, I watched nearly all of last season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I think I did not watch Australia live because,
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's
God,
a tough one. Yeah.
that was a hard one. I almost stayed up for it. I did not actually.
Yeah. Well, you need to get F1 TV like us sickos, and then you'll be all set.
I generally, I at least watch all of the highlight videos, which are great.
Yeah, those are pretty good. They're pretty good.
Like, yeah, no, and I went super hard, and I was like watching most of the practices and the qualies, and then the race, and I would
love it.
make the weekend out of it. And then last summer I almost went to the Formula E event that's right near me.
Oh, that's right, I remember.
Because
yeah,
they had it like in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was in
like
New York.
practically walking distance from here.
Oh wow.
But I was coming back from a trip, so it would have been like the end of Sunday. It was like hang out for some paddock time. Like, this is not actually going to be worth.
Yeah, if they come back, you should probably.
I'm
see if you
definitely
can check it out.
going because
apparently
it's super inexpensive.
Yeah, it's not
by any comparison,
right?
And yeah, no, I actually looked at my credit card offered me early access to the Vegas stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me see. Okay, yeah. No, can't afford that. I definitely can't afford that. That's just the ticket.
Insane.
Then not including the travel and the housing and all of the
and they're going to jack experience. Up all the hotel rooms.
All of the Vegas hotel rooms are so weird because they're surprisingly cheap.
Right, but I don't think they will be that weekend.
Well, they're not. They're not. If you check the prices, everything.
Everything that's because I stopped right after.
Well, what's the point?
Yeah, it's like it's fine.
They're like quadrupling, if not going even higher in value during the race.
This is what television is for. It's fine.
Exactly.
I'm okay with this.
Exactly. I mean,
so Tim,
I'm good with that. I
got a question for Tim. So, as a relatively new fan, we just heard about Stefano Domenicali saying, we want to make it more exciting. We want to get rid of these practice sessions. And you just mentioned that you watched the practice sessions.
I liked watching the practice sessions, like hearing about all of the things that they learned in the practice sessions, like watching them really hit. One of the really exciting things is that there's a great ramp up of tension. And so in other parts of my life, I'm a game designer. And so watching like the experience and incentivization of games and how they are entertaining is a thing that I think about a lot. And I'll get to more about that when we talk about Formula E, because Formula E is so weird. But the ramp up of tension from the first laps of FP1, where they're gonna kind of take a slow lap around the real track, not in a sim, and not risky, and then they're gonna find space to push, and then the next lap is 5 seconds faster, and then the next lap is another 5 seconds faster, and you're like, how fast are they gonna go? I'm so excited. It's Silverstone is okay, a minute and 40 seconds. A minute 30 seconds? A minute 70 seconds? A minute 18? And by the time you're getting to the race, they're doing 112, and you're like, oh my god, it's so fast. So that's one of the things that I really like about kind of watching the whole set of those things. I think that's really, really exciting, even if there's nothing at stake, because you're getting to watch them learn the track and just have kind of let that excitement build, and you have the narrative arc of the weekend that's not just oh, there's a race done, because you get to especially if your driver has an accident in turn one, right? It's cool, I'm here for the race. Oh, great, Leclerc just bombed out. Well, shit. There goes
Yeah.
my 2-hour afternoon, I suppose.
yeah,
Right? Like, and
yeah.
that sucks, right? But like,
Right.
if you like look at the Grand Prix weekend, and you watch the races and you watch them finding their speed and their pace and like getting their comfort with the racing lines and right and like that, all of these kind of in individual spaces, then you get to see the competition having all of this sort of contextual world building and background built up. And I think that's really exciting. So, yeah. So, like,
Well, I'll be
Domenic Colley doesn't know what
curious-
he's talking about.
I'll be
which is
curious
not
to hear how you respond to Baku this coming weekend, because it's going to be the introduction of the new sprint format. So for those that don't know, it's a complete change to the way that sprints are being done. So it's going to be. I'll be interested to know if you do or don't like that.
Yeah.
As someone who I think it is different a little bit for newer fans like me personally. Still, I'm a newer fan also, and I definitely am like, okay, we can try new things. Like I'm not, married to it, but
I do like trying new things.
yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yuki,
okay with it. I'm
call
kind of
me.
like, we could always just stop doing that then. If it's not working out, it's fine.
I
Give
mean,
it a shot. I'm like
I-
the person that's always like, when you go out to eat, people are like, no, I'm ordering the thing I always have. And I'm like, no. You got to try something different. Yeah. So
There's like literally one place that I'm like, oh, weird. I've fallen into a regular order, and it's like a coffee place that I go to with like after going to my kung fu in the afternoon, and like the barista there makes the best Americano that I've ever had, and so I'm like,
yeah, I mean, when
that
something's
again.
good, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting something over and over again. But yeah, but
I just realized how different I am from you guys, because I'm like,
yeah.
I have pretty much the same breakfast like 4 or 5 days a week. I work in an environment where like literally I have to order carry out, and I have like 3 restaurants that have like the same basic dishes. And then the rotation of dinners, we try to eat at home as much as possible because I'm eating out for lunch so much. And it's like, yeah, Grace knows that like spicy shrimp, the recipe that she makes is like chef's kiss perfect. It's like, I love her 20 times more when we have that dish. I hope she hears that, but if not, I'm going to tell her anyway.
Wait. So are you saying she listens to your podcast?
You know what? Yeah, she does. I listen to her. She listens to me. I've listened to her way more, because when we were talking about how old the podcast is, her podcast
Well,
is
yeah,
old
they've
enough.
been around like forever.
Yeah, they've been around so long that like if their podcast were a person, it could now drive in Formula One.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that's not as old as it used to be.
I mean, how old is Lance?
Actually,
Stroll?
it is.
Like,
They started in.
Well,
I think
he's
it was
not even the
2000
youngest. I mean,
2003,
Oh, God.
2004,
No, that's
maybe
true.
at the
Yeah.
latest 2005. So
Yeah.
they've been around a while.
He
it's
still
actually a
reads
really
to me as the
interesting.
youngest.
It's actually a really interesting question as to what's going to happen in the future. Like, I've heard people theorize that now that the drivers are starting at such a young age, as compared to how it used to be, that some people think that what it'll mean is they won't last as long. They won't go into their. I mean, other than unless you have a, weirdo like Alonso, that they're not gonna, go as deep into their career is not going to go into like their 40s. So it's kind of, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't, because people just don't stay in for ridiculous amount of time usually. It's one thing or another happens, or you decide you want to do something else. It's obviously a crazy lifestyle, so we shall see.
That's an interesting point, because like in stick and ball sports, like you think about football, basketball, baseball, you want to get young talent on that contract that underpays them for the value they bring.
Right.
In Formula One and in motorsports in general, you're paying for not just the performance on track, but for the marketability and for a bunch of other intangibles that don't really affect like necessarily how well they perform on track. And I'm thinking, well,
how else would Daniel Ricciardo have been there as long as he was? Ayo!
Man,
And the Ricciardo fans are coming for us now.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Watching that first season of Drive to Survive, I'm like, Danny, Rick, and then it was like,
I know, right?
oh no,
Yeah.
Netflix are a bunch of what?
That said, I
God.
think he's still got one of the best personalities. Like, I enjoy his sort of like upbeat Aussie-ness.
I mean, I'm sure he's super fun to be around, and that part sounds great. But again,
I don't know if
not
his
going to have any
humor
deep conversations.
It's always good natured though, because I watched this one clip of him
it's not
making fun of Hulkenberg, going Hulkenberg.
Oh well,
and I felt like, and they were teammates at that point at Renault, and I'm like, he's trying to get under this man's skin. You know, he's just needling him.
Yeah.
I mean, you've met Australians, right? Like, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
if you're
we're
not
Americans,
under somebody's skin,
we do.
Like, right, we are, but he's not.
No, what I'm saying is like getting under people's skin. That's like our thing too. I mean, America and Australia are probably the two closest culturally in that regard.
Sadly,
right,
that is
like
the case.
Australia is. I'm going to be broadly generalization here.
Insult the Australians. Go for it.
I mean, I don't know that they'd consider this like. They live in a land of like poison, right? Like everything there is dangerous. You gotta have like some sort of like dark biting humor.
They're chill about it though,
and they're super
completely
chill
about it,
right? Like just everything has a little bit more of an edge, and that.
Yeah, but when you talk to them, like they're like whatever about it. Like it's like a nothing to them. You know, they're just, you know, or at least, and I have actually like a huge number of Australian friends, and because when I used to do the gaming podcast I used to do, when we focused mostly on mobile and casual games, they make really good ones in Australia. I
really love that this is like a cool. How many Australian friends do you have?
Yeah, I've
got one or two.
Yeah,
one or two Australian.
No, I've got
friends.
like a ton, a huge amount. And they people especially that live in like Melbourne, they don't even really see a lot of the scary. You know, like they're not going to see the scary snakes really, or the
brown
see
recluse,
the spiders, but.
You've got brown recluses. They've got like spiders the size of dinner plates.
Yeah, no, it's extremely it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I'm not even really. I'm not like scared of bugs really much or spider. Well, some bugs I don't. Cockroaches I'm no on, but yeah, they it's freaky out there. Everything's trying to kill you. So those people are tough, you know.
It's true.
Flip, I wanted to ask you about something that recently has come up that I didn't realize. That I did not realize that you did sim racing.
Yeah.
Which we recently talked about for some reason or another that I've now forgotten. But tell us more about that. Like, how are you? What are you like? You know, super hardcore into it? Are you like a Max Verstappen, like out there like for hours and hours? You know,
I am so tempted to take the camera on a walking tour of our disgustingly dirty, cluttered house, but I'm not going to do that because it's a disgusting, dirty, cluttered house right now. Remodeling, it's hell. So here's the thing. It became my pandemic hobby. So, you know, we're all trying to avoid getting COVID. We're all trying not to, you know, be exposed. It's like, well, what am I going to do? And see, here's the thing. I got into the Formula One video game. It was called like Formula One 2019 or whatever, I think, when I started. Partially because, hey, Grace loves Formula One. I love video games. I'll play the game. And I had the racing wheel, right? So then I was like, this racing wheel's nice. But then I started getting good at it. And that's the mistake, is when you get good at something. Because then you start looking at the leaderboard and you're like, yeah, I could do that. I could be better. So, Grace had to deal with me becoming the guy who's like literally getting into the hourly races on a Saturday and a Sunday, trying to up my score against like teenagers who have the reflexes of a pit viper. And I got to the point where like if I finished and I wasn't in the top 5% on the Formula One game on PlayStation, I was like heartbroken. And I mean, this was like something where she could tell, like, I was like literally becoming like the person I am not in any other context, where I was like getting angry and getting out of my like, I got the racing cockpit deal. Let's put it this way, I got that serious. But if you look at like
you're
AMG,
seeing red.
Oh yeah. But AMG Dins has like a real setup. Like he's got he's got like the steering wheel that's like $2,000. My whole rig is probably like $1,500.
I mean, that's
actually
not
probably
nothing.
$2,000. Right. So it's like the guy who has like, you know, the mid-level Nikon camera. He's not a professional photographer, but he can take a decent photo. He knows how to adjust, you know, like aperture.
Some pro-am.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of in that space.
Gotcha.
But the fun part about it is I've just gotten into VR racing, and
boy.
when I have to warn you guys, when I get into that, I'm gonna be useless to you. I'm gonna be like, look, just do the pod, tell me where to start, where to end, and I'm just gonna throw it together and throw it over the fence to you guys because
Okay, noted.
it's I mean.
I'm gonna have to have a talk
This is
with
amazing.
Grace to try to prevent this.
No,
somehow.
it's too late. It's already begun.
No.
We got PlayStation VR. Or PSVR 2. We got a PlayStation
boy.
5. We have 2 PlayStation 5s because of my addiction. And yeah, it is decadent. It's truly decadent.
Okay, it's been great working
I'm
with
gonna
you.
come over and check that
um,
out because I want to try it out.
Oh,
I
it's
also love racing games. I'm not
Formula
hardcore at all.
okay.
but
I have to
love
tell you this
racing
though.
games.
There is a Formula One link to this. We were watching, I think it was Autosport, and they were talking about something in the background behind one of the guys who's like, giving this talk on like something about like sprint racing or some teams like upgrades. I see the PSVR 2 controllers, and I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're about, my friend. We're in that same world.
Solidarity.
Exactly. Geeks.
So do you then, since you kind of have done it yourself, do you follow any of the esports stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like, it's funny because it all goes full circle. So we were talking about like, as a black person, like seeing like, them kneeling for the anthem. One of the funny things was I got super like weirded out when I saw that James Baldwin was like a big esports figure. I'm like, okay, but when I hear the name James Baldwin,
Right.
I don't think about esports.
No, same.
No.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of cool because he's a guy who went from esports to actually driving in GT class cars.
Cool.
There's all kinds of fascinating.
You're still talking about the same James Baldwin, right?
Let me tell you, if he somehow
Pretty sure that one's no longer with us.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he somehow managed to become an expert sim racer, that'd be all the more reason to ask ourselves, do we live in a fair and equitable society?
That's all I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
Hey, I'm just happy that we have like one black person in Formula One driving.
Amazing car.
Who knows
Also
for how much
masterful
longer?
esports driver.
I know. Well, Yugo's coming up.
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. Okay.
But anyway, I was gonna say.
Oh my God, Ugo, by the way, is like, have you seen him do, like, I saw like a clip of him doing an interview after his most recent win. He is so serious. I'm like, what's happening? I mean, he never smiles. It's I don't know. It's giving like, I think I'm already in Formula One and I'm angry at the media already. I don't know.
Or it may just be that he can't make any missteps because.
I mean, I did consider that. I figured that's probably part. But even when you look at old like Lewis,
see Yuri Vips for an example of what not to do.
Yeah. Well, not that he cares. But yeah, like he's super. I think it must be just that he's like super driven and super focused, and like. But I'm like, yeah, I can only commend you for that. I'd be like, cracking jokes, which is why I'm doing a podcast and not being a racing driver. But
what's funny is I always think about like when you see clips of Lewis Hamilton when he was like a rookie and he had Alonso as a teammate. I always get a kick out of like the little jabs that I never knew about because I wasn't into Formula One at the time. And there's this one clip where Alonso is talking about how he found 6/10 out of the car in terms of lap time. And he's like, if the team just gave me more resources, I could do even better. And then they cut to an interview with Hamilton, and he's like, well, there's like thousands of people working back at the factory, and each person puts a little bit of themselves into it. And, if he says he's found 6/10, it's probably the people at the factory, not
I've
just
seen
him.
that. I've seen that. It's actually wonderful because it's like Alonso's like taking all the credit himself.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, oh, I developed this car. I did, I was like, and Lewis from the very beginning was, it's not like an act like some people probably think it is when now he always and you can see that even still with drivers who, whether they've been in Formula One a long time or not, some people always mention people back at the factory, etc., and some never do.
What's funny is in the Formula One game, when you're managing like the build of your car, after the race is over, like they have a little fake interview come up and they ask you questions. They're like, so today you seem to be struggling with grip. what do you think happened? And like your answers often will throw your team under the bus. So it's like if you say, well, we just couldn't get any grip because, it seems like the arrow was a little off. They'll be like, the aerodynamics team has noticed. The chassis team has noticed.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God. So at the end of the race, you're like,
I mean, that happens in real
beautiful.
life, I'm sure, to some degree. Like, that's not, that's like gamified, whatever, but like that's got to be a real thing. I'm sure I would not be too happy if I was, working back at the factory and the driver's like slating, the whole department that I work for or whatever, or something is, not right with the car. We've got to figure it out, or the engine blew up and it's, this sucks, like they're.
Yeah, Mike Elliott, we need to talk about this.
Okay. Since you brought up Mike Elliott, I think that we should just talk about this now. As people have heard, there's been a technical shuffle at Mercedes. Mike Elliott has not been given the boot exactly, but he's been, taken out of the role that he was in, and James Allison is back. So people have I think a lot of people have a lot of optimism about this, thinking that this is going to be, a major thing that's going to hopefully get Mercedes back on the right track. I'm not as optimistic, I think, as some people are. I'm just kind of like, I mean, I hope it'll help, but how are you guys feeling about it?
I got thoughts.
Okay, go.
Go for it.
Okay, so first of all, James Allison is a fascinating person apart from who he is at Mercedes. I don't know if you guys know his backstory, like, how he was, he's been with other teams before, including Ferrari, which he left when I believe his wife died. And one of the moments that I actually kind of enjoyed, when I first started watching Formula One was Mercedes would do these post-race technical briefings, and James Allison would stand there in front of the camera and explain like what happened and what went wrong. He would answer like questions.
Oh yeah, those are like famous. Yeah,
right.
He's really good at it.
So there's one where they asked him like some.
The Mike Elliott ones were.
Very well. I mean, they're engineers, so like, and they're engineers at the height of that side of the spectrum of like.
But engineers can still be funny
or
interesting, or
Hey, I'm a software engineer.
There you go. See,
and you're funny.
I'm not here talking about. But
exactly.
Here's the thing. They threw a question at him. They said, if you were an animal, what type of animal would you be, or something like that? And he goes, well, my wife told me that I have no soul and I'm like a blobfish. And so like, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? You have no soul? I forget the exact quote, but it was something to the effect that he had no personality or no soul, and he was
probably
a blobfish.
Not the first engineer to be told that.
And I just thought like, and I just felt so like it's one of those moments where you just feel like I can bond with this person. I am okay with him.
Why? Do you also have no soul? I mean, I don't understand.
Oh yeah, I'm totally soulless, I'm sure. But
okay.
But no, I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, that was just one of those moments where you got to peek behind the curtain as to like not just the veneer of I'm an engineer giving you the post race debrief. He was like a human being, and then Grace and I of course Google everything about him and his wife to find out, and we find that she had passed away, and then it's like, oh okay, and then that's how I learned about how he left F1, I guess, briefly after his wife died, and then he came back with Mercedes. So, okay, will he make a difference? Given that he was burning out and he kind of has agreed, the official story is Mike Elliott said, oh, I'm not cut out for this job, and James Allison said, you know what, I really could stand to be more involved, and they basically swapped roles.
Right.
If I'm expected to believe that, which I don't know enough about what goes on there. I don't want to.
No one can say. It's like 99% of the things in F1, it's a black box, right? Like no one can really say for sure. We can only speculate.
So I look at it like this: if it's really true what they're saying, that James Allison has this knack for rallying the troops and getting everyone to follow him, and he sets the technical direction, and everybody buys in, and everybody's like, yeah, we're gonna kick their Well then, yeah, it might just be a case of this works out. It might just be the wrong person. I was in the wrong job. And I was looking at Mike Elliott thinking like, I don't think he has the charisma of being an inspirational leader, but strangely enough, Blobfish, James Allison, apparently does. And I can kind of see that because he's the type of person that, he kind of exudes that sort of capable, brilliant sort of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it, as an outsider. But if it's there inside the company, yeah, absolutely, it might.
I mean, that's the story about him, apparently, that that he has that kind of leadership quality, that he can really rally people around him and get the most out of everyone. And I mean, that is a really important quality. Like, that's
hugely important.
In that, yeah, I mean, in like pretty much any leadership position in any kind of workplace. But I think especially in a situation like this, where you've got, where this is their second year underperforming, and I'm sure there are a lot of people, who kind of, maybe have their heads down a bit, and are feeling, not great about things, even though Lewis has done an admirable job for sure.
Yeah,
up until, earlier in the season, where he was like, they didn't listen to me, whatever. But
they
before
put
that,
the seat too far forward.
Yeah, they really, I don't know what that's all about. But he, before that, he was always like, I believe in everyone. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to do, and it's like a lot of the time he says that stuff and you really start to believe it. And I could see how that would work also on people. But of course you have to
The chassis team has noticed.
Yeah, exactly. But you do have to have someone who's actually there, at like Lewis isn't at the factory obviously every day, or probably not. I don't know how often he goes to the factory, because he, we were recently talking about, famously doesn't like the simulator, so he's not going for that. So he's probably only going when there's like some kind of thing that he needs to film or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously pessimistic, I guess. So, which means that I'm not like fully pessimistic. I'm holding out hope that, because people do seem to make a huge difference. This is in this business. It's, I mean, you could say that about, I guess, almost anything, any line of work, but it really seems to be hugely focused in Formula One on having the right people in the right positions, and so hopefully this will be, I mean, but again, it's probably people who are Mercedes fans or Lewis fans, or I guess George Russell fans listening.
Hey, I would go on a date with him.
There you go. So you're one of his fans, apparently. I mean, I like him. He's okay, whatever.
He's friends with Alex Albon. What's the hate?
Yeah, well, okay, fine. But Alex is much cooler. Maybe I'd go on a date with Alex. I'd like to change my answer.
Lily would fight you to the death, and she's got golf clubs.
But this is an imaginary scenario, obviously. Like, so yeah.
By the way, sappy love moment. There were a couple of, I guess it was like a week or two ago, they posted photos from them going around Hawaii.
Oh, they're so cute. They're always so cute.
Did you notice that Alex is like holding her hand in like 90% of the photos in the card? I'm just like, oh, that's
really sweet.
Put a ring on it, man. End the suspense.
I know, right? Well, I mean, I don't want to be like that person, whatever. They're still young, so it's fine.
Also, they don't have to if they don't want to.
That's right. That's right.
We accept all approaches to.
They're both very busy. It's fine.
That's true.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they're super cute. Love them. They're probably like the favorite couple of, I think, almost everyone.
Well, other than Taylor Swift and Alonso.
Well, we do not have confirmation of that. Okay, come on. But it has been, I must say, like this, it has spiced up this extended break from Formula One this week for sure. I'm definitely enjoying the rumors, and all the ridiculousness around it is super fun. There's actually this guy who he's gonna come on our show at some point. We've been like chatting a little on Instagram. He's like a comedian out in LA and an actor and whatever, and he's also a newer American fan, and he's been making these hilarious videos about all kinds of stuff. And then like he wrote a whole like Taylor Swift-esque song that she would write about Alonso, and it's so good. And he's like singing it wearing a blonde wig. It's fantastic. I'll put a link for you guys.
Awesome.
He's his name is James. I think it's like Coker or something. But yeah, he's super funny and seems super nice also too, because I was like, yeah, we can. I was like, would you want to be on the show sometime? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, and he said something. He's like, I'll be the token, white guy. But of course now, Tim, you've already been the token white guy now.
I'm
so
half Mexican, so like.
Okay, true.
It's only sort of technical.
All right. Well, so then then James will really be the first. I don't think he's part anything. I think he's as far as I know. I'll ask him. But anyway, yeah. I have to tell you guys that as far as we may as well talk about Fernando and Taylor because I know their names kind of sound good together. I feel like that's the sign of a possibly amazing relationship, right? That's really all there is to it.
In our spoonerism, like drive to like pair everybody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the jokes have been amazing. The jokes have been amazing. The memes have been amazing. Everything has been amazing. I'm enjoying this. I'll be kind of sad probably when it's over and we get confirmation that it's probably not a thing. Although again, it's still possible. It's still possible. I'm more optimistic about this than Mercedes' situation, which
Okay,
even
optimistic in what way?
well,
that is.
and that it could be true because that would be amazing. And then think about like the album she does when they break up, and like it's gonna be so good.
Oh, they'd
like
be so good.
The song
That's
material is
true.
gonna be fantastic. I mean, people already came up, like this guy who I was talking about who made the funny video, like he wrote these lyrics, and but people also, like people who follow him, whatever, also come, and he made like a second one, I think, with other lyrics that other people came up with, which were also amazing. Like, so if Joe Nobody on the internet can write amazing lyrics about this relationship, then Taylor Swift is gonna surely, do a better job even, and it's gonna be phenomenal. So I'm that's what I'm optimistic about. I'm
That's
optimistic
what you're
about
hoping for.
that
Okay.
it could still happen. It could still happen. And because Fernando, let's face it, like he was dating this like nice, normal, age appropriate woman. And then it turned out Aston had an amazing car, and he was like,
I'm a star again.
exactly. I mean, I don't know if that was the situation, but it just seemed like a little bit of a coincidence.
I'm top 5% on the PlayStation leaderboard.
Exactly.
I could be even better.
Yeah.
Top 1% coming up.
There you go.
He's like, I mean, he's like, I'm not I've maximized the car, but am I maximizing, this relationship and my ability to date really hot women? Probably not.
I always feel like there's a great reference from the league about fantasy football where they talk about guys who date someone who's way out of their league and they say he's outkicked his coverage. I feel like there's a point where Alonso's going to outkick his coverage. He's done it in his career, right? Like he's like,
Right.
I'm going to leave McLaren, and he went from McLaren, I think, to Ferrari, or did he go to Renault briefly and then bounce to whatever? He leaves a team, he goes to another team, the team fails. Then he goes to that team, fails, because they always have a crap car when he goes there. This is the first time in 4 tries that he's actually got a good car and a teammate who's not beating him named Lewis Hamilton. And that's how I lose all the Alonso fans, right there.
But people, if you're listening, he's wearing an Alonso t-shirt. So
But it's
Alonso.
It's Alonso sad because his car died on him, which is exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, but it's the famous, he's like sitting there sunbathing. He looks quite peaceful and relaxed,
It does look
actually. So
extremely
it's a
peaceful.
good.
Meanwhile,
This is-
I'm wearing a shirt from Taylor Swift's Reputation tour, which
I mean, guys, it's a sign. It's a sign. One's wearing an Alonso shirt. One's wearing a Taylor Swift shirt. It's clearly a sign. I'm just saying there are no coincidences. That's it. It's confirmed. We've broken the news.
we definitely planned this, not planned this.
I think that's what's really creepy about it.
Yeah. But okay, but actually, like I said, the jokes have been amazing, and there was someone I talked to who I think even superseded all the amazingness of all the jokes that I've heard, and so I said I was going to steal all of this, and I'm going to steal it all from a friend of mine. He may or may not work in Formula One. Anyway,
I have lots of friends who may or may not work in Formula One.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
it
go.
turns out.
Yeah. But we had like this funny, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's true, about Fernando and Taylor. And and he was like, whatever, I don't care, but he was like, as long as he doesn't lose focus. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, does he doesn't, because he kind of doesn't strike me as the type to, like, lose his head over a woman. And
Taylor's amazing.
But you gotta realize Alonso probably looks in the mirror and goes, but I'm also amazing. She could be out kicking her coverage to get with me.
Yeah. I mean, well, he thinks he's like the shit. Like he thinks that.
But not what's in the middle of the street, which we are not going to talk about.
Right. But so I was like, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. He seems like he's very, very focused, especially now. He's got a good car, and all this. And my friend is a guy, so speaking from the male perspective, he's like, I don't know, it's like, men aren't great at keeping their brain engaged when the blood flows to their penis. And I must say, I was like, okay, but what do you mean? Like, that's, when it's happening, or when you're thinking about something, or you see it, when you're surely not, if there's, like, let's say it's not, they're not dating, most likely, probably, right? Like, whatever, he's like, no, that's not how it works. He had a whole explanation for me. He's like, okay, let's say the rumors are not true. The moment he becomes aware of them, he goes into incognito mode on his browser and starts looking for wanking material. Charming name for it, by the way. And then when that process is finished, his brain engages into figuring out a way to give her a call. All of a sudden, those simulator lap times drop a couple of tenths. The engineer is puzzled. He starts trying a few crazy setups. Alonso finally shakes it off. Ayo! And his lap times recover. The engineer is happy, the weird setup works, and voila, we're running suboptimal in Baku. Fast forward to the end of the season, and people at Aston Martin lose their bonus because of a couple of points, all because Fernando was thinking about Taylor, and things got a little bit,
hectic,
unfocused, and out of. I thought, I was like, I can't. Okay, you are two men as well, I've been told. So, what are your thoughts?
I don't know who told you that.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Himself, but...
Just pretend you're like a famous, whatever. Like there's a rumor about you dating someone. Let's say it's not true. Do you think this is all plausible?
No,
okay.
Not at all. But
I think that, like, the story of Fernando that you just told was plausible, but, like, that's a really specific context and a really specific ego.
I cannot believe that with the ego that you have to be Fernando Alonso, or Lewis Hamilton for that matter.
Sure. That
you think that there's anybody worth losing a few tenths off your lap time for. And I will use Lewis as my example. He dated the lead singer of the Pussycat Dolls,
right.
Nicole Scherzinger, right?
Yeah.
Split with her. He has been linked to everyone. Like, I think he was linked
Lots
to Christina Aguilera
people, yeah.
when they did that song with XDNA, with his nom de plume XDNA, right? They did Nicki. He hung out with Nicki Minaj before she got into her.
Yeah, he's hung out with everyone.
He is. There is a video that cracked me up that I stumbled across where it's like, I want to say it was like Gigi Hadid or somebody like that, who's like completely someone I was not thinking about, but they said, bad boy Lewis Hamilton is corrupting this young innocent, and I'm like, wait, what? Bad boy Lewis Hamilton?
Wow.
Well, he used to be a little more, that way.
He's kept his freak on a leash. I mean, Corn reference. But yeah, he.
Oh no! Just like it reminded me, like I saw a picture posted in one of the channels that I'm on of like somebody wearing like a corn-styled shirt, but it said elote across the front.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's so cute.
This is a joke for me.
That's awesome.
It's so good. I'm so glad you understand it.
Yeah, no, of course. I love elotes.
So I think, just to conclude,
you think that it's a no?
I think it's a no because I'm trying to think of how I can say this without incriminating myself or people I know.
No, you're gonna. I have traveled. It's gonna happen.
Well, okay. I will go to a specific context. I have worked in software engineering sales, and I have seen how certain types of personalities that have lots of ego operate. and there is absolutely nothing that deters him from that goal. That is like your brain can be compartmentalized, and you can keep that part, that lizard part of the brain that's all about scoring with Taylor Swift, that is separate from the part that's out there making the money or doing the thing that, you know, makes you a valued member of society. And I don't think Alonso's old enough to start having midlife crisis thoughts. I don't
know.
I think he's having end of career thoughts as an athlete, but he's not having midlife crisis like, what is the meaning of it all? You know, he's not laying awake at night thinking like, what if I never get that third championship?
No, I don't.
Well, actually,
think so.
he might be worried about
totally
that.
Worried about
He's
that.
he might be worried about that.
Yeah,
he probably thinks he'll get it this year or next year or whenever. But I mean, in all seriousness, though, like I don't think he's thinking existential questions. He's thinking like career questions, and as long as that's forefront of his brain, I honestly don't think. But you know what?
Yeah.
I mean,
there
I
are
feel
different
like the
people.
Focus of like this sort of athleticism means that these are both the same thing. Like the existential and the career are almost identical.
True.
Which is
True.
one of the reasons why I think Yuki is great, because he has other things going on.
Yeah, that's one of the things I definitely love about him. Like, I'm freaked out by like those guys that are like, you know, I don't do anything else. Yeah, and I don't have any hobbies. I don't have any. I'm like, you're a scary robot, Max Verstappen. I'm sorry, but I don't like it. Yeah, well, time will tell. I mean, again, I really like. I'm desperately hoping it's true, because just the material would be unbelievable.
You want the memes.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, Fernando is, you know, trolling everybody. If people didn't see, he posted a TikTok that was just him like sitting in a chair, and then he like looks up and winks at who's ever filming him, and it was Karma playing over it. And I mean,
Alonso's a troll. Like
he's he's such a troll. But I mean, it's. You know, is he just he's probably just poking fun at it, like that's probably proof that it's not real. But I mean,
in as much as it's proof.
I think in a strange way, when he's like this, in his most troll-like state, that's when I actually kind of like him.
Nah. Okay, maybe it's true that you have no soul. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. I mean, because I saw someone a while ago, so like you can't be a fan of Hamilton and Alonso. I'm like, well, it's not like Hamilton Verstappen, where it's like, you know, Verstappen is like
one of them is a person and one of them is a robot.
Yeah.
See, I think there's I've seen some fascinating, like, you know, it's like the equivalent of McLaren Unboxed but Red Bull videos where Verstappen has a hint of personality.
Yeah,
but it's
but
a very
like, 'cause
dry...
if they're doing these ridiculous, silly things, like anyone would seem like they have some personality.
True,
doing all that
that's what it's designed for. I mean, it's to make them seem personable.
Exactly.
And he hates that stuff. I mean, that's what part of the reason why they have Ricardo, right? Because they wanted someone to do all that stuff because Verstappen just doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's the video that we posted a couple weeks back of Leclerc and what's his name? His teammate.
Oh, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, Sainz.
I'm Carlos.
Yeah, him. Drawing pictures of each other.
Oh, that was amazing.
So
that was amazing.
Did you see the goggle one?
Oh my god, the goggle one! I died. Like, I was like people, like, I think my family was worried about me, because I was like, I like, you know, I think that I don't think he actually, luckily, I don't think was really hearing me, but when I saw that goggle video, I was like laughing from beginning to end. I was dying, and it was, you could tell, like, Laura Winter too, and it was like she's like trying to remain, you know, like she's hosting the thing, but she's dying also. It was great. That was amazing. Those two are always amazing, honestly. Like, they had I was actually super, super freaked out that this season it didn't seem like they were going to be doing their like C2 challenges, you know, that Ferrari has them do. They do however many throughout the season. It seems like almost one per race, but there already had been a few races and nothing, and I was like, oh no, is it because like Ferrari's doing so crappy that they've decided to scrap this? Like they don't have time for this, maybe, you know, they're too busy trying to like, you know, being in the simulator and trying to like make the car better and whatever. I'm like, oh god, I mean that's probably the right call, but at the same time we need the content. So but they're rest assured, everyone, they're still doing them. They've come out with the first one, which was like a fan favorite. I think probably they did it already a couple times before, where it's like a name that song thing. They they start playing a song and they have to try to guess it. You know, who can do it fastest. And actually, Carlos won. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
The journey will be amazing.
But I was actually like, it was actually amazing. Like I found like Charles got I forget which Adele song it was. Someone Like You, I think. And he got it like so fast, and he was like, "Oh, I love the song." You know, it was. I was like, right. "Yes, Charles." he's so emo. It's great.
they both have lots of like emotion when they're in the middle of these little contests. It starts out very like, this is going to be fun. Next thing you know, it's like Charles like holding the ball like and going, I need to find the exact distance to strike it.
Oh my god, it's amazing. And also if people haven't seen when they did, I think it was last season, I'll put a link for you guys for all this stuff. Oh my god, there's going to be so many links I have to do. That's okay. It's all for the good of all of you. I hope you appreciate those, because if not, then I'm spending my time doing them. Why? I don't know.
It's for me, honestly.
Yeah, right.
It's
right.
for me, and like me being able to keep up.
Okay, cool. You know what? That's enough for me. If there's one person,
everything else is gravy.
If there's even just one person who benefits, I'm happy with it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you, Tim. Thank you. Now I won't feel like it's a waste of my time, because you know if people have to look, if you haven't seen when they did the charades challenge last season, I don't know if the whole video was the funniest one they've ever had, but there's a part where it was like breakdancing, and Carlos gets down and starts trying to do it. He starts trying to spin around. Like you could see it. So he got so into it. Like he was like, I gotta try to get them to guess this one, you know. And he was like trying to do it. Of course, he can't do it at all.
Like the most awkward breaker.
Oh my god, it was so bad. I was so embarrassed on his behalf, and so was Charlie. Could tell. Charlie was like, mate, like that.
I always find it fascinating that so many of them do not like to dance or sing publicly, but they drive cars at 200 miles per hour.
Well, I mean, the two skill sets are quite different.
Oh yeah, but I think what's interesting though is like there's a certain degree, like it's just fascinating that like there's this sort of separation, because like to me, like if I'm doing that, I had to overcome so many other fears to get there that I'd be like, and now I'm going to just do whatever the hell I want. But they're just like, no, but I guess to some degree, you talked earlier about how they start at early age. A lot of them are karting as like, 5-year-olds. So.
Oh yeah. You know, they start I think it's a little bit the opposite. It's not like, because they didn't have to, for them, it wasn't like overcoming things. I mean, obviously a lot of people have to overcome various things to get to Formula One, and lots of drivers have had to, but they're not things like fears or like things like that. I feel like they're not, they're just singularly focused for so many years on this goal that honestly it's amazing that more of them, I guess, aren't like robots that don't have any other
I mean, not
interests.
everybody is as so lucky as to have Jos Verstappen.
Yeah,
True.
Ooh, yeah, that's the kind of luck that I don't wish on anyone.
Yeah.
I gotta say though that people do. There's a lot of people out there that think that Max would be totally fine without Jos. I don't think so. I think it's like at this point it's like sort of like too late. I feel like you could subtract Jos now from the equation, and Max might be a bit different, but he's going to still be the way he is, which is, he doesn't really care about much, and he doesn't care about saying. And on that note, I think it's a great time and a fantastic segue to talk about the fact that Fernando, again, this is like the Fernando show, and I don't like this at all, but This got a lot of attention, I feel like, in our kind of like neck of the woods in terms of, Formula One fandom online, because of the fact that obviously a lot of Lewis fans have no love for Fernando. And I have like I have mixed feelings, but overall I don't like him. But I don't know what circumstances these were where he said these things, because the beauty of Formula One media, I'm putting scare quotes around that, is that you never find out things like that. Usually there'll be like some article like, this person said this, why or where or how, not important. Maybe they read his mind, I don't know. But he believes that him and Max, it was this piece that was like, Fernando Alonso on the politically incorrect perception he shares with Max Verstappen. And so, yeah, he basically said that he thinks they're both seen as aggressive, rude, and politically incorrect drivers. And I'm like, politically incorrect is a nice euphemism for, racist and misogynist and stuff like that. Like, cool.
Yeah, usually when someone says I'm going to be politically incorrect, I'm like, you're about to piss me off, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, first of all, I actually don't think the aggressive thing is. I feel like a lot of people were saying that too, like that they not like Fernando is known for actually being like that. You can go wheel to wheel with him and you're not going to crash, whereas Max is the complete opposite. And, well, maybe not now because there's no one going wheel to wheel with him because...
Except his teammate. And,
you're right.
And he's
maybe
having troubles.
So you we'll see. They haven't yet because it just hasn't happened, and I don't know if it ever will. But like, I was just like, why? Like, this is... I mean, it's, like, so typically Fernando to, like, say a thing like that. And I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of agree because... they both the fan bases are horrible.
I've often wondered though, is that cultural? Because like I remember, seeing the clips of like Spanish fans and blackface when Hamilton was, clearly like becoming a thorn in Alonso's side during his rookie season at McLaren, and Alonso was supposed to be the guy brought in to win the
cultural.
championship.
What is it? What are cultures? This is like, does that make it okay?
No. Not saying it makes it okay. Hey, I live in America and I'm a black man. Come on.
I mean, I was yeah.
but I guess what I'm saying is like clearly there's like undercurrents there that they're just going to like go along with that flow. So it's like they may just be ignorant and willfully so at this point as to like how it comes across, and they may not care because when they go home to wherever they live, there's no one who's going to like be offended by it because they all think the same way. There's parts of this great United States where if I go there, I know what people are thinking because I know the demographic that lives there. And I also know those people feel comfortable in that space being that way. But if they go to like New York City or they go to Baltimore, or they go to like, Los Angeles.
But surely it can't be like that in although I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that because actually speaking about the Netherlands, which, isn't a large nation, so you can kind of talk about it. I feel like in terms of you can't talk about.
Nations are very small.
Yeah, are very
They're
tiny. That's
really
true,
small.
and like and are kind of in some cases.
Somebody's got to be West Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the Netherlands.
Well, no.
Oh
But
wait. Sorry, someone has to be Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's probably accurate. But
Yeah, I mean,
like,
West Virginia has Mothman. Like, that's a whole different thing.
Well,
there
yeah.
you go. But I think that you can't, like with the Netherlands especially, I feel like you can make some kind of generalizations. I'm sorry to say, like obviously this does not describe every Dutch person for sure.
Hashtag not all Dutch.
Not all
Hashtag
Dutch
not all
people.
That's okay. So I actually hold a grudge against the Dutch.
I mean, who doesn't?
I mean,
who doesn't?
who among us?
I feel
who
like this is
among us
therapy
does
now.
not? But mine has to do with World Cup.
Yeah.
From,
that was another reason to hate them. Yeah, and there's already so many.
Whole big reason, and so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the contrarian here because I can't let slander against the Dutch people occur. Okay.
What? Why?
They've got amazing bicycle infrastructure, and they're the best at hydrogen
True.
in the world.
And let me tell you this: if you're an American and you would like to get the equivalent of an MBA in Europe and get it on a scholarship for free or at very low cost, like my niece did, you can go to the Netherlands as an American and get your education there cheaper than you can here.
Okay, cool.
And you can party with and you can party with a bunch of Dutch people, and they're pretty cool
And
outside.
they're extremely
They're
tall.
okay. They're okay. Like
extremely tall.
Okay. So here's the question: which group is better to party with if you're a young black college student, the Dutch or an Ivy League institution?
I mean, they're
Oh, man.
both. That's you're putting us between
I
a
think-
rock and a hard place here.
Man. So, fair warning, I went to Cornell. And,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the almost Ivy League.
Oh, yeah, no, like... No, the joke goes that it's super hard to get into Harvard, but, like, once you're in, you're guaranteed to get out. Cornell is, like, it's super easy to get into Cornell, but it's super hard to get through it.
Okay, I'll have to ask my cousin.
Yeah.
He went there.
That's how the jokes go.
Yeah, I don't
but
know
I think
about
it
it being
depends
hard
on-
to get into Harvard. Have you seen some of the people that went to Harvard?
I
Like,
mean,
and which of course you find
legacy-
out within 5 seconds.
Are
of
we
meeting
talking
someone.
legacy
Right?
admissions?
That's the part where you get out very easily.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Right.
once you're in, like getting in is the hard part, and then they're like, 4 years, here's your degree, get out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that must be that part. Yeah.
Just put our name on your resume when you go for your first job.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just I found this so it's like typical Fernando. It's typical. I'm sorry, both fan bases are truly horrible, and I don't care what anyone says about Dutch people being, again, not all Dutch people, obviously, but it's. I mean, I have a friend who lives in the Netherlands who is he's half white and half Turkish, I believe, or some, so he reads as someone who's not white in the way that so and based on the things he's told me, I am not at all surprised that Max's fans are the way they are. Let me just put it that way. Okay. And he's he's not that this should matter, but he's like well educated, he works in a prestigious field, whatever. It doesn't
Not in
matter.
Formula One, though.
No.
Not
We
necessarily.
must protect the identity of
Not
that
necessarily.
person.
No, not in Formula One. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, and like did you guys know also like the whole going Dutch? That's called that. Why is that? Why is that called that? Because the Dutch people are extremely cheap. Okay.
I feel like anytime there's a stereotype, there's always like some kind of biased, racist, or kind of because it's
How
kind of
can
like
it be racist? They're white.
Well,
Well,
I guess what I'm
but
saying
they're
is like
Dutch. And that's a whole and it's Europe. It's a whole different thing. Like you get like different nationalities are weird, right?
well,
very
I mean,
weird.
Like I
it's
have
not like
things
we're not.
against the Spanish because I'm Mexican, even though like
Yeah,
Almost-
actually,
yeah,
that would
I
mean
like,
you're not.
I mean,
you're not a fan.
That said, like all of like the lineage like that we've been able to trace back to, like it goes back to a bunch of like Spanish governors. So that's awesome.
Sweet.
You would love our family tree. We've got the craziest one. We have African American. Well, we're African, Irish, and Asian Indians. So or South Asian.
Mm-hmm.
And the fun
That's
part
it.
is we
That's-
found out the
that's fun.
Irish came from France and then were accepted into Ireland after a couple of hundred years and then migrated over here. And the best
Really?
part about it is finding out about like the racist great grandparent who's like, racist, but lived with a black woman for X number of years, having children with her, and still remained a racist. And you're like,
Well,
this
that
complicates
happens
things.
all the time, sadly. Like,
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson.
There you go.
But
But I mean,
I'm not-
even in modern
but
times,
I'm-
I'm sure. I'm
but I'm
sure
not
there
so-
are people,
Oh yeah. I mean, was it one of the Proud Boys? I think he was like a noted racist and had a black wife and a mixed race
Right.
child.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah.
The choice of
It's-
fascism. We accept everybody.
Yeah, totally.
for now.
I mean,
Okay. Speaking of fascism,
I was gonna actually.
I was
speaking-
just wondering.
Speaking of, not actually a fascism, but I was going to say one of the fun facts about me, jumping back to an earlier piece of chatter, was that I really wanted to be a breakdancer when I was young.
Oh,
and I was
wow.
going to ask for like fun weird facts about y'all from like
wow, what's a fun weird
I
fact?
too wanted to be a breakdancer, and I actually seriously, like, me and my friends would actually, but see, keep in mind I'm a child of like the 80s, so like we literally would put the cardboard box on the floor and try to get the spins and do the pose at the end. So I mean
Oh no.
I mean, I'm of the age where when I just saw, in fact, it's kind of funny. Someone just posted like a bunch of clips of Leclerc saying it's like this after every time something goes wrong with his car.
Well,
and my
yeah,
first thought was,
he says
it's
that a
like
lot.
that. Run DMC. And then I realized like all the people who are probably in the same age group as Leclerc would be like, what are you talking about? Because for them, that's like me talking about like
I don't
you
know. I don't know, because in that Name the Song thing that they did recently, they put an Ace of Base song in there, and Charles was
Ace of Base
very
is
confident
Swedish,
that
though.
he knew it. I mean,
Ace
that
of
is
Base-
later, but still, like that is
So like I had a job when Ace of Base became a thing.
okay. Wow, you are old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
kidding.
like, no. I mean, like, that's one of my jokes with Grace is like, you know, we talk about like, because we have an 8-year age gap, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I had a job. She's like, I was in high school, and I'm like, and that would have been awkward at that time.
Well, yeah, it's fine when you're both adults.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, our
That's
age
what's
gap
up.
is just, I think, was it 1 year wider than the gap between Taylor Swift and Fernando Alonso?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why people. Honestly, that just I've heard that some Taylor Swift fans are like scandalized by the thought.
I'm
of her-
scandalized by the thought.
And yet they're all probably slightly aroused.
Well, wait,
as well.
wait, and as we have a Taylor Swift fan right here
Yeah, right
on
here.
the
I'm
show.
literally
I mean,
right here.
are you? So you're opposed then? Is that what,
It grosses me out. Yeah, no, it super
Okay.
grosses me out.
interesting? And why? Why?
Because
Yeah, what's-
Fernando is awful. Because
Well,
Why
I
is he-
mean, yeah, but
okay,
He's
so,
a troll.
Like, I mean, yes, he's a troll, and I can accept that. But like, he owns that too hard, right? Like, he's like, I'm not just a troll. I'm actually a demon, right? Like,
Wow.
He just.
oh yeah, no,
it's
he
like-
loves it. He loves it.
Oh, he loves it so hard.
Yeah.
And like the thing about, I've been a Taylor Swift fan for a really long time. Like, listening, like, was a fan before the Kanye thing, right? Like,
Okay.
So pre-Speak Now, like watching her on the Grammys with T-Pain doing that goofy ass song, which is great. And she's like, I didn't even swear, because like she gets bleeped into the middle of that bit. It's so good. It's so good, and I'm gonna make you like put a link to that in the show notes.
Sure. I mean, okay. I think Fernando's a worse person
Right.
for sure.
Worse,
But
Max
I don't-
or Fernando? Let's make a poll and put it on the internet.
Okay, yeah.
That's
let's, and
but I don't
think
have-
the answer is Fernando because he's a person.
Yeah,
In fact,
but I don't
in
have
fact,
super.
oh, that's
warm
cold. That's very
feelings.
cold.
I don't know-
Actually, I gotta tell you guys about how to troll Max Verstappen fans.
Okay,
because they love-
that's not hard.
Oh no, but this is the best way. See. Okay, I'm about to share my politics. So one of the things I enjoy is telling like DeSantis fans that Trump hates DeSantis. Because it's like they're used to arguing with someone about their politics. And they think about someone who's not in the same part. So when you have two who are like that close together, they don't know how to react because they don't want to attack that other guy, but they kind of don't like that guy. So I think Verstappen fans and Alonso fans, one thing I've tried recently is to point out to Verstappen fans. They go, "Well, Verstappen's better than Hamilton." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's not better than Alonso."
Oh shit.
Like Alonso's a better driver than Verstappen, and I think if you throw that out there enough, and we can
I
make
see
this
what
a
you're
thing,
trying to do. I see what
It's
you're trying
like-
to do, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, they're like two. I think
We won't
Fernando.
know.
it doesn't
until we
work on-
try.
It doesn't work on you because you have like the presence of mind and ability to take in more complex ideas.
So
Thank
I think
you.
every time you see someone do the whole Max versus Lewis thing, just go, "But Alonso is better."
I can't.
And just-
I can't.
just put it out there.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm a very.
And that's why I'm here. I am the hero that Gotham deserves. If you
you
live
say
long
so.
enough.
I have like principles and stuff, and like I can't. I
That's
can't
a
do it.
coffee
I
shop
can't do
near
it
me.
because
Like,
I
it
can't.
works out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting you on this flip. You go ahead you try this. Like, if you have
You
We'll get some very weird tweets.
You
of the
give
week
me
coming
you give
up,
me
I
a month in
think.
control. You give me a month in control of our Twitter account, and I will cause a nuclear war.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, but no thanks.
I'm like, I'll be like, okay, let's go.
And
Although
speaking of nuclear war, there was this story which I don't really know, whether this is, how much value to put into this, but apparently Franz Tost, is all like very obviously Yuki's on the right track, et cetera, and that he would likely, if he stays on this path and keeps doing a good job, that people think that he's gonna replace Checo in potentially like a couple years at Red Bull, right? Again, initially I was trying to do speaking of fascism, and that would have worked too. I mean, it is an Austrian team. Just saying. But
how did World War One start again?
Yeah. But
Ferdinand?
not the band.
Not the
But so that people that Yuki is Checo's successor potentially. I have very, very negative feelings about the possibility of that happening. I cannot stand the idea of my precious Yuki in that snake pit of a team. I mean, it's bad enough that he's in the junior team where he has to deal with Helmut Marko and, but at least he's got like, I think Franz Tost is kind of an ass too, but at least like you could say he like really cares about Yuki. He cares. He
cares about the drivers in general.
Yeah, he really does. He really does. He's, and he's like known for that. He's good at nurturing, young talent and this and so
Yuki looks good in that white costume.
I love that you called it a costume. Like he's cosplaying being a Formula One driver, like like I'm cosplaying being an Alonso fan apparently.
Yes, that's correct.
You
Who, by the way, is better than Max
that.
Verstappen. By the way, he is so much better than Max Verstappen. Just putting that out there yet again.
That's right. Let's get that ball rolling.
Fernando forever.
All right. That's what this first single is going to be called.
Fernando forever.
Yeah, off of Taylor's album.
I can't stop thinking now that because Christian Horner is married to Jerry Halliwell, and the Spice Girls did a song called Viva Forever, and now that is playing in my head.
Oh no. Sorry. Actually, it's Flip's fault.
This
but
is Flip's fault, but
yeah,
it's my life now too.
Pretty much everything right now is Flip's fault.
But yeah,
You're,
I am both
you're
the
the
hero
problem.
and the villain.
It's you.
You're the problem. It's you. You're the monster on the hill.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm so
So
Tim,
Yuki Ripple.
Tim,
Oh,
as Yuki's boyfriend,
Yeah.
as we discussed earlier, how would you feel about him going to Red Bull in a couple years, let's say?
I mean, I think he has better taste than that.
I don't think he has a choice though.
No,
But
I don't
it's like,
think he's
Right. No, but like if Red Bull continues on like this winning track and Checo like gets ousted for whatever reason because Max has another hissy fit and whatever and they decide to bring on somebody I wouldn't mind seeing Yuki on the podium, but also
that's true.
But I also wouldn't want to see him in that blue and red outfit because I don't think he'll look good in it, and that's.
So it's a fashion decision as well.
Honestly, Scuderia AlphaTauri is kind of like a fashion brand, so
I mean, a crappy one, but
that's
sure.
not the point. Okay,
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
I'm sorry. I must speak the truth.
That's fine.
The sweater's
Yuki
pretty
looks
fire,
good in the AlphaTauri outfit.
Well, Yuki looks good in anything. He's adorable.
Right? Okay, but if you imagine him in the Red Bull outfit.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone looks good.
Well, I was gonna say in
I
Formula
mean, on
2 he
top
was
of that-
in the Red Bull outfit, and
True.
it looked
True story.
okay.
I've never seen that, so
Right. So yeah, you're like, that doesn't exist.
I'm like, so that doesn't exist. Blissful ignorance.
Yeah.
My Yuki is like clean and perfect and pure.
I have no idea how I am both the voice of moderation and the extremist in this podcast, because I'm up here trying to start a nuclear war between Verstappen and Alonso fans, and then I'm going to come back and say this. If Yuki goes to Red Bull, I would have no problem rooting for him as an individual, because it's like fantasy football where you root for the players, not the teams.
Yeah.
So like I can separate the driver from the team.
Oh,
I can also...
I mean, I already do that. I do that
Yeah.
with, like, I don't really care about Mercedes. I care about Lewis. I'm already, you know.
I care about, I guess that's actually a relatively new thing. I was talking to Grace about this, how fans of Formula One used to follow teams, not drivers so much, and now they follow the drivers.
Yeah, it's all about the drivers now. Yeah.
So I think that first of all, sports is inherently like evil people own the franchise. Evil people own the teams. I mean, most of them are not people that are good.
It's a higher level of evil in Formula One, I gotta say, than some other sports.
Oh yeah. So if you're gonna say, okay, there are probably some evil people there, and they just kind of work behind the scenes because, hey, the billionaire owner of the team never goes out in public showing you how many billions they've got. They just hang back and they hang out in that weird kitchen we were talking about earlier, and that we will not name.
Okay,
but they hang out places
listeners who can't see the video, Flip and Tim have decided that my kitchen is...
Let's not... No. Let people just wonder what we're talking about.
Okay,
because that's
fine.
how we... Fine. And what we'll do is we'll say, like, after
just keep
a year...
it mysterious.
1 year from now, if we're still cranking out pods, we will explain the story of the kitchen.
Something to look forward to.
But they got 52 weeks. They get the kitchen.
Yeah, wow, that's
amazing.
Not incentive enough, probably, but okay.
That's fine. We'll just produce good content in the meantime, then.
Yeah, 52
I mean,
weeks.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, even during the off season.
Obviously. Oh no, I have like a million ideas. But yeah, no, I'm okay with it as long as... Now, Tim, I definitely did not see it from your point of view, I must say, about the costumes. But I do concur. But I think that, and I have to say, I don't know what it is that the AlphaTauri, I have to give them props for this, because the AlphaTauri fire suits are white, and yet they never seem to have, like, they don't ever look like, after they get out of the car, they don't ever look like, do you guys remember when, with Williams, like when George was there, or when whatever, they had the white suits also, and every single time that, like, George or whoever would get out, that they have that, like, black marks on their ass, like, as if it was some kind of, or it was like the seat. Well, I don't know. They have some kind of problem with that at Williams, though, like, too. Like, Alex already this season has been a couple times,
problems.
like my seat is really hot.
But Williams is running on, like, a threadbare budget, so, I mean, they're like...
I mean, but luckily now the suits aren't white, but, like, because that maybe that was, so I don't know. So
AlphaTauri has like a bidet inside the car,
right?
And like Williams is like an outhouse, That's a Yuki reference, by the way.
Yeah. So I mean, props to them for that, and I'd like to see Yuki continue in the pretty white, I think, but I mean, if I would have to make peace with the fact that he goes to Red Bull, I could do it. Like I said, yeah, actually, it would be cool. Like I didn't even think about that. I didn't think that he could be on the podium. He could. I don't know if a Japanese driver has actually ever won a race. I think no Japanese driver ever has.
I would really kind of love to see? I would love to see Yuki standing on the #1 podium, and then like another, like, much taller racer still towering over him from like the third place podium.
Preferably Alex Albon.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm there for this.
Oh my god, that would be the dream podium.
Right? That was Coda when Shaq went up there and stood next to the podium.
Yeah. That was like one of the most incredible things I ever saw. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was tall, like Max was on the top step, and Max isn't among the shortest drivers either. He's not like the most tall, but he's on the taller side of the spectrum. And yeah, Shaq was just like, I am way, way, way up here. And he's not standing on anything, obviously. It was amazing. But yeah, those photos are like, they look like toy people.
Yeah.
It looks like Shaq came in second, basically. It's
yeah,
great.
well, they look like they're little like toy men. Like they're not, it just
They're jockeys, basically.
Well, they are. I mean, they are. They do tend to be kind of small people. But yeah. Well, that's in F1 anyway. In IndyCar, it seems to be a wholly different story. But what I was going to say is that I will give it my blessing if Yuki going to Red Bull means that he makes a lot more money and that way he can open his restaurant sooner. I'm okay with it. I will make my peace with it if Yuki can, get to his actual dreams and aspirations faster.
Here for this.
If,
We should run a poll. I'm full of polls today. We should that sounded really weird. So I think we should run a poll. We should run a poll of who's going to get a podium first. Yuki Tsunoda or Nico Hulkenberg.
Oh man. Rude.
Yeah.
Rude.
Okay, well, just so long as you're happy with there being like 5 responses and that's very scientific and we'll go off of that, then sure.
Well, once we enrage all the Verstappen and Alonso fans, we'll have no problem driving traffic.
I know they've probably like blocked us all by now, so it's fine.
They're gonna get my assassination coordinates and come after me.
Okay, you're gonna have to do that all from your personal account. I'm just telling you.
Just get last week's guest to help. That's fine.
Not that I mind poking them in the
Defamation.
eye, but yeah. So yeah. Well, okay. I'm feeling better about the possibility of. I feel like this has been a nice group therapy session as far as Yuki possibly going to Red Bull someday. I can probably live with it. But what I was gonna say is that yeah, they're, drivers are in F1, the weight is so important, whatever, they're all pretty small and all this, but yeah, apparently in IndyCar it's a bit of a different story, as they are going to have their little mini version of Drive to Survive coming out soon. In fact, if people are listening to this at like not right when this episode comes out or later, I think that it may have already been on, so if you missed it, don't worry, but it's called Road to Indy. Is what their little mini Drive to Survive is going to be called, and it's only going to be 6 episodes, but they're hoping that it's going to be more episodes in the future. But the first episode premiered for like media and other people at the Long Beach race recently, and apparently it's got a lot of Joseph Newgarden working out with no shirt on, and he's like, if people don't know what, I'll put some links for you guys to take a look at. Tim, you'll enjoy this one, I hope. He's he's jacked. And he's like Captain America. Yeah, he looks like it's crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna offer a thing. It's 100 Days to Indy, and
there we go.
Yeah,
that's it.
roadtoindy.tv redirects to like some clean your computer nonsense.
Fabulous.
Turns
also
out.
Don't ever look for Japanese massage chair reviews on YouTube. It's
oh my god.
It's not what you think it is.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, that was oddly specific.
We just ordered massage chairs for our remodel, and
sure.
And
okay.
And let me just tell you, we were looking for reviews on the products just to try to do a comparison. And let me tell you, it started out with, hey, that's not a massage chair. These people are not. That's not a massage. That is not a massage. So just letting you know, redirection. Okay. It's bad.
This is,
all right.
This is
Use
your
those parental controls.
Racing incident. Make sure to turn on Safe Search.
Apparently. But yeah, that's right. 100 Days to Indy. Thank you.
100 Days to Indy.
Yeah.
And it's coming up on...
Yeah, it's going to be
Thursday
on the CW here in the U.S. It's actually extremely sad and depressing. Like, I have seen them. They've been promoting it heavily, and, like, it's on social media, whatever. And like, but people, you'll see all the time, there'll be people asking, how do I watch this if I'm not in the U.S.? Or what do I do if I can't watch it when it's on? Radio silence. Always from the IndyCar social media people, even though they don't get as many, like they don't get 500 comments like the way that Formula One does. So it's not a matter of scale. They could respond to people if they wanted to. I don't know why they don't, but yeah. We're actually going to talk to someone on the show in the future who maybe will shed light on that. She's actually like done data gathering and research on IndyCar on social media. It's actually interesting stuff. But yeah, I don't know if she'll be able to answer that either. But yeah, it's Vice Sports is also involved though. So I've just been telling people, so if you're outside the U.S. and you're you don't get the CW, obviously, I think there's going to be some way to watch it on Vice's like digital channels or whatever. So don't worry, you'll be able to see Joseph Newgarden with no shirt on as well. Wouldn't want anyone to miss out on that. Not actually my thing, but I'm sure a lot of people will be very happy to see that. But it's going to be interesting actually to see if it has the same effect as Drive to Survive on IndyCar, which is what they're hoping, of course, because IndyCar is kind of like sort of no one cares about it.
Sad but true, yeah.
Which is too bad. Yeah, I'm actually reading this really interesting book about that now. Well, it's not about that. It's called Indy Split. It's about kind of like the history of the stuff leading up to it, and then there's a whole. Anyway, we're gonna talk to the author at some point as well,
cool.
So that'll be cool. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's sad. Like I feel sad for IndyCar sort of, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of things they could do better. But hopefully this series will help. Like I want kind of nice things for them, I guess. But I also feel like people, IndyCar fans, drivers, other people that work around IndyCar do a lot of complaining about Formula One and how it's so much more popular. And it has this like vibe, like I'm familiar with the vibe as people may not know this, but so I live in the Chicago area, and if you're not a baseball fan, this won't make much sense to you, but I'll just try to explain. We have two baseball teams in Chicago. We have the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. And the Cubs are probably who you've heard of if you're outside of Chicago. You've heard of Wrigley Field. You've seen that part in Ferris Bueller's Day Off or whatever. You like the Cubs
Back to
are
the Future.
Yeah. The Cubs are, they've got, they're very well known as compared to, but the White Sox are often have been like the better team, are often, but they're more, it's more like mainly only people that live in Chicago that will be fans of theirs. They're more like the South Side team. The Cubs are more like the North Side team. So there's that dichotomy. There's all this, but Sox fans are, they have that, they're like aggrieved. Oftentimes, because they're like, hey, our team's better and our ballpark is better, and Wrigley Field, they've like remodeled it and stuff over the years. I think it's better now, but up until somewhat recently, they've had like men's bathrooms where it was like a trough. Okay, this is what you were peeing in. It was disgusting, and it was all. I haven't been in there, obviously.
I was just about to ask how you knew.
but it's like famous. It's famous. Like people, it's quite gross, and like the food there wasn't as good. Everything was. I think now there's been a lot of changes, but because they are now owned by like this billionaire family, the Ricketts, which are I think probably horrible people, as we were discussing, of people that own sports teams. But nevertheless, but so like the White Sox, and so I didn't used to
do the hashtag not all billionaires.
No,
Okay.
No, that one
Just
doesn't
checking.
apply. No,
All right,
yeah,
that's fine.
no, they're
Trying
all.
to think if I know any billionaires who'd be offended.
No, and I don't care. I don't care if they are.
They'll just buy like everything around us and make our lives miserable and be like, well, clearly.
Hey, joke's on them. I'm already miserable, so there's not much more you can do to me, billionaires. Take your best shot. Let's go. But anyway, only that's why people do podcasts. I'm just gonna let everyone in a little secret. Sometimes, because it's fun and you make a lot of friends. Anyway, so I became a White Sox fan by eventual marriage. But when I was dating my husband, he was a White Sox fan, and I didn't even really know anything about baseball. But I was, I started getting into it, and he explained everything to me, and then I became like actually a big fan for a long time. I haven't kind of been as into it now because I'm too busy with F1, because then there's a lot of content, and I'm making content. It's crazy, but I'm still a White Sox fan at heart, and I know the feeling that IndyCar fans and drivers and those people have. Like, I get it. Like, you feel like, hey, we're awesome. We might even be better. Because it's there. For people that consider it not fair that an F1, it depends so much on what car you have. Obviously, the driver makes some difference, of course, but like if you're not in one of the best cars, you're just not going to win, right? And unless some weird thing happens. Whereas in IndyCar, it's like
sometimes it does.
It does, but it's like not that frequent, right? And it's and they and so people and we've had now that a bunch F1 drivers that have gone to IndyCar that are having a great time. Your Romain Grosjean and people, Marcus Ericsson. People were like, who cares about Marcus Ericsson? But he won the Indy 500 last year, and so it's like I get it, IndyCar fans. But your quarrel is not with F1. Like, I feel like your quarrel is with the people that run IndyCar, the people that are doing like the marketing and all that type of stuff, and like they know that, but like yet they still complain though. I don't.
It's like a rising tide is going to raise all boats. Once people get into motorsports, they're going to explore like.
I mean, that's what
endurance,
I feel like. Yeah, I feel like people like that's how it's been for me. Like I got into F1, but now I've been watching the IndyCar races too. I sometimes can't watch the whole thing. They're usually longer, and it's like if I've already watched the F1 race in the morning, it's gonna be a long day of racing.
My sister went to a NASCAR event a handful of years ago and had a ball.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it's super fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm gay. NASCAR, I don't think so. IndyCar is probably as far as I can take it in the whole Americanness of it all, and it's already too American for me.
You say from the middle of the country.
Yeah, but I wasn't born here, and I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. Right. I don't. Yeah, I'm American. Yes, but.
Oh, I could do a whole thing on the co-opting of patriotism by people who are less than fully embracing the ideals.
I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's one of those things where it's like you go to a neighborhood, you see a lot of American flags, and you go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, no, those freak me out too. Yeah,
right.
No,
so I get it.
No, it's a no for me. Yeah, no, I had a whole thing recently with people about IndyCar they do a prayer before every race, and they have there's IndyCar ministry, which is a thing that like they're in the and they hold services and stuff. Like they're not forcing anyone to do it, but they're only doing Christian services. So
Little America.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's they know who their audience is.
Cool, but like I would feel like if I was someone who was thinking about working for one of the teams or something, and I wasn't Christian, I was of another faith or of no faith at all, I would feel creeped out by it. I have to say, and I mean because I didn't realize that they do it. Like when I watched Long Beach was how I found out about the prayer. Before, and it was not just you could easily do a thing where you like let's all think about let's all like bow our heads and hope for a safe race, and that's why. And they do it in all the different series leading up to Indy, and they do it in NASCAR too, and and I'm like, okay, but you could do it without it being like an overtly Christian. But no, the guy was like, in Jesus' name, I was like, well, what is this?
It's interesting because it's one of those things where it's like I can totally understand how like your fan base, you look at the demographic, you look at what they care about, you say, okay, we're gonna do this thing because it pulls us into that community, right? But then as time goes by and your sport expands, you're now signaling things that might be exclusionary to other people. Exactly. And it's a catch-22 because you don't want to ever alienate your fan base. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the whole like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, right? There were people who were grievously offended by that, and then there were people like myself who are looking at it going like, that is actually more symbolic of how I think of America. It's having the ability to kind of stand there, or kneel, as the case may be, and actually make a statement. Yeah. That's the freedom that I kind of embrace. And the dialogue around that was actually kind of fascinating. But I also kind of put the show on another foot, and I go like, well, if someone wants to, if some organization wants to do that, then I can choose if I want to consume that product. And if they're excluding people, that's their problem now because they're losing, like, I figure now. I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I feel like Europe tends to be more secular than the United States for the most part.
Exactly. Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
So I feel like IndyCar might look somewhat American, provincial, sort of, God, guns, blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
To Europeans. So when the IndyCar people are complaining that their sport's not growing, they may have to look at like, well, how would I market that overseas?
Yeah,
because.
absolutely.
Because we know that when Formula One does stuff, they are definitely not their lords and masters, are American at Liberty Media, that they have to figure out how to sell their product here. So that's why they go to Miami and have the fake water around the track in the Miami Dolphins parking lot, right? They have the upside down butchered pig for Las Vegas, which I'm still going to like treasure finding that image on the internet.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks like a pig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
so watch everybody hate the track, and then it's gonna be like the best race ever, and we're all gonna be like,
I don't know. I mean, look at it though. I don't think so. I mean,
the long straight just makes me think someone's gonna die going.
I think, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna look great on TV, and that's obviously all they care about. So,
irony: it will not be happening in Las Vegas. It will be happening in Paradise, Nevada, because the Strip is not Las Vegas.
That's true.
Ooh.
Thank you. I have to give a shout out to Dominique Foxworth, the guy who does podcasts, who shared that.
Did not know that.
The guy who does
Did not know
podcasts.
that.
I was trying to think of how to introduce him, but if the people who are listening to us probably will not overlap with his audience at all, so I'll just claim it as my idea.
Okay.
Brought to you from Flip.
Yeah. I said that.
All right. We've been talking for forever, and we have to do. I'm going to quickly just run through what I was going to say is our podium of best social content that I think people should check out if they haven't already. Probably a lot of you have checked these out, but like there was of course, F1 dropped another one of those videos with all the drivers. It was a never have I ever situation, and they were, and this is the one where Pierre said that his nickname is, because they were like, never have I ever had an embarrassing nickname, and he, of course, this is like typical Pierre, right? Because if people really were calling you that wouldn't be embarrassing, right? That would be, like you would love that nickname, but he, of course, he just,
like, the joke version is you'd love that nickname, and then it would be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty funny. It had a lot of.
Know that you're a photographer.
There you go. That must be what he meant.
That's what he meant.
Yeah. But no, that had a lot of funny stuff. It was like they asked like if had never have ever posted a shirtless selfie, stuff like that. And actually,
George
for a lot of them,
Russell's
they said,
"That's my boy."
Raise hand.
That's your boyfriend. He was like,
yeah,
well,
boy.
yeah, okay, I have. Because a lot of them, they were like at first, oh, selfie, oh no, because they like, you'll see a lot of time there'll be shirtless pictures that other people took, but it wasn't a selfie. I'm like, that's a technicality, but so that was pretty good. I actually, I think people should check out Prema, who's a team that is in Formula One, but they are in like all the other series, like leading up to Formula One, and they actually do these like their video, their content is sometimes so good. It's like I don't know, like their social media people and their content people are amazing. Like they're obviously like, Prema's like the most, for people that don't know, they're like kind of considered like one of the best teams to be on in any of the junior categories. They've got like a really great pedigree and all that, and they're so they're in Italy and they're very, very Italian, and they but the content is amazing. Like, so they had a really cute video recently of one of my favorites in the junior categories, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, but people call him Kimi, who is the most adorable little cutie. I mean, I don't remember how old he is, but he's got to be like, only like, I don't know. We can look it up, but he is super cute. He's this little, and he's Italian, and he's, but he seems really, not that Italian people aren't nice, but sometimes Italian men can be like a certain way, and he doesn't seem that way. I don't know. He seems really sweet. And he's posted like these really cute pictures on Instagram of his sister. She does like rhythmic gymnastics or something like that, and she won a trophy, and he was like, she's like sitting on his lap, and he was like, yay, you know, like, so he's a good older brother, and I'm like, oh, he's just so sweet. And so him and another driver who are both in FRECA, you know, Formula Regional European Championship, they did this thing like agree to disagree. They told them a bunch of and they do these, like, their videos will go on for a while sometimes, because these drivers, they don't care about wasting their time. They're not like, you know.
Right.
I know nothing about videos that go for a long time.
Yeah, no, right? Yeah. Yeah. But it was actually super funny because, like, they asked some of the things they asked them were like, and they had to say whether they like agree, strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree for like a bunch of these things that they said. But like, to me, the funniest was like, one of the funniest was in the beginning. They were like, bring your girlfriend to the track. And they both strongly disagreed. They said it's not good to have your girlfriend at the track because you have to be focused and you don't have time. You're not going to be able to spend time with her. And I was like guys, like, I hope you don't plan on driving in Formula One because, like,
well, Alonso and Taylor Swift could be proof one way or the other, right? We just talked about that.
Yeah. Oh my
Maybe
God,
that's just a teenage boy and like a 40-year-old man. Teenage boy can't focus. 40-year-old man's like, yeah, Taylor Swift, whatever.
I know. I mean, but I was like, guys, like, you got to get better at focusing then and whatever, because like Formula One drivers will have their significant others there.
That said,
you know, oftentimes, and
young Master Antonelli is apparently 16. And
there we are. Yeah. Oh, he's adorable.
Like, there is no focus at that age. Like,
well, that's true. That's a good point.
No matter what. Like, I remember being 16. It was a mess. It was a total mess.
Literally and figuratively for me at 16.
God, I knew it. I knew it. And yet it still happened. And
Tim set it up so beautifully.
I know. But I don't know. I don't want to think about Kimmy that way. He's so sweet. But yeah, he is 16. I know. 16. They actually did ask in that video. They also asked them. They were like, they're like, is you know, do you agree or disagree with this or whatever? So, is flirting cheating? And yeah, it was, but also like Kimmy, it was people were like, you guys have to watch this video. Obviously I'll have the link. So, because like, he was so like analytical about everything. He would like say, the other guy would just kind of like decide. And Kimmy's like, well, now let me see. And he would like go through this whole long, complex, you know, process. And so flirting, cheating. Now they both said they thought flirting was cheating, which I was like, I mean,
they're
you know,
16.
Well, yeah, but Kimmy, like the other guy was like very keen to point out that Kimmy like doesn't have a girlfriend, maybe has never had a girlfriend, and he's like, yep. but he was like, but yet he seemed to imply that Kimmy was a big flirt, and he was like, you know, like what you do, Kimmy, because I think they had to translate some of that for him. I mean, his English was good, but like, you know, he wasn't 100% sure what they. Anyway, it was amazing, and I think the third place on the podium. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
I think
Italians have to use their hands, otherwise they don't understand what is being said and cannot speak.
Well, yeah, that's right.
I live with it too. It's impossible. Like, flailing hands.
For people who can't see,
it's literally
we're doing stuff with our hands, and it's fantastic.
I literally live with Muppets. It's fine.
I think that the third place on the podium of best social content goes to the person who's been on third on the podium every time this season, and I think it has to be Alonso's TikTok, because that was, you know, that was just trolling of the highest order, and I commend him for that. He now has 1 million followers on TikTok. Breaking news, if you didn't know. Yeah. Okay. Very quickly, our tweet of the week.
Followers on TikTok. That's not sketchy at all.
No, I think those are all real. Yeah, no, I think they're all real. Because that's actually 1 million's not a lot actually at all. Actually, I don't know about TikTok numbers, but I mean in terms of Instagram, like they have, you know, like I mean Lewis obviously has the most, but even Lewis doesn't have a lot as compared to like, you know, soccer players or you know people like other, you know, but Lewis has the most out of any F1 driver. I just want to say. But
We should do a
but okay,
graph
tweet.
for that as like some of our content.
Yeah, no, I actually once checked how many followers they all have. It's actually kind of interesting. We'll definitely talk about that at a future date. But our tweet of the week this week, our big winner again of absolutely nothing at all except our undying love and gratitude, is Dead Randy is his Twitter name,
Dead Randy.
which you know. Yeah,
It's a posthumous award.
I think he's Canadian because he's got the Canadian flag. To which I say, hi.
It's a boot time.
It's about time that a Canadian took the tweet of the week win. And Randy replied to, well, I don't know if his name is Randy, but let's just pretend
Dead
it is.
Randy.
Yeah, Dead
His name is
Randy.
Dead
I
Randy.
mean, obviously he's not dead or he wouldn't be able to tweet, I don't think.
No, that's his name. That's his name.
He's posthumously tweeting. But I posted that, like, you've got to be kidding me. Basically, it was one of these, like, stupid stories that's not a story. It was Formula One pundit would put my money on Max Verstappen winning the title with Ferrari. And then he went, actually, and if you read that story, it went on to become even more crazy. He was like, Ferrari, McLaren, he was like, Max can do it all. It was I was like, oh, Max, I mean, can probably figure out a way to make peace in the Middle East. Max could solve
Alonso
world
would do it
hunger.
better, though.
I love your dedication. I'm
going to make this a thing. I am absolutely going to make it a thing.
Okay, I support it. If it'll take the heat off Lewis or whatever, like, cool. But yeah, I made the, like, comment that, like, anytime it starts with Formula One pundit, usually you can just stop reading right there. And Dead Randy said it sounds so much better than guy you've never heard of, which is extremely true and a correct observation, because I don't remember exactly who this person was that they called a Formula One pundit, but it was actually someone I had never heard of, and probably lots of other people had never heard of. So, yeah, congratulations, Dead Randy. And we have to now say that that's it. We've done this for way too long.
It's true.
But
We're having too much fun.
So much
Yeah,
of this.
yeah. I know. There's going to have to be some... Well, luckily you guys are there to do the editing. But
Editing, it's going to be like intro, content, trailer.
It might
Boom,
be.
done.
It might be.
there you go. But anyway, yeah, for people who have heard, Tim and Flip's name in the credits, obviously you've seen Flip on an episode already before, but it was so awesome to have you, Tim. This was super fun. I love and appreciate both you guys. I just want to say, and I really, I can't thank you enough, because we wouldn't be able to do the show without you guys. And you're awesome. Appreciate everything you do, and I'm sure people listening and or watching appreciate it too. And yeah, I just we can definitely do this again sometime. If people are ready to hear a 2-hour episode in the future, then
So here's what my wish for our listeners and our fans is that, for me as being a Taylor Swift and for Flip as being a cosplaying Fernando fan, that people will ship us, and like
Yes!
that is my hope for the future. And I would love
like
to see
it.
this content and fan art and whatever.
I like it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I'm here to bring to it.
Let's make it happen.
Yep.
Make it happen. If
Go
you're watching
listeners.
out there and you
I
have
wanna
some
see
artistic
fan art.
ability
Yeah, fan art.
or want to write a fanfic, let's
Yes.
do this.
I will read it.
Specifically, they described how Alonso is a better lover than Max Verstappen.
Yes.
That
That's
can-
probably true.
extra
Let's
points
be
for that.
honest.
And I'm pretty sure that's got to be accurate.
I think that's probably accurate.
Put that in a poll on the
Yes!
internet. Who's a better lover? Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear, honestly.
I feel like if you want to drive some traffic to on the socials, that's
you
the
want to drive
poll.
some traffic.
That's the poll. That's the poll you put up there.
That's the new term that we use. Drive
some traffic.
Oh my god. Okay.
To
And
our
on that
traffic
note,
paradise.
I think on that very, very
Inappropriate.
controversial
Yeah, controversial.
note, Yeah, we've got to end it, and thank you guys for listening again. Don't forget, you can email us if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. You may have quite a few after this episode.
And especially with fan art.
Yeah. Email us your fanfics and send us your fan art to Racing Incident Pod. That's POD, racingincidentpod@gmail.com. Obviously, follow us on the socials. You can send us your fanfic there too. Go for it. And we hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have, because we've had a blast. So that's it from us this week.
Bye.
Bye.